Hello, everybody. So, when it comes to understanding just how deeply sick dog culture is, we really have to look at politics and philosophy. And of course, the human brain. Don't forget to check out my human brain videos. But have a listen to this with me and tell me, does this sound like dog culture?
Jacques Rousseau, who, to skim over a lot of details, held that societies could only be justified by the collective consent of the people. He famously said that it was not a king or a nobility, but a social contract which differed a legitimate government from an illegitimate one.
So, think about the social contract. When a pit bull, a husky, or a Rottweiler kills a child, attacks a police officer, kills a postal worker, the social contract of society as as of right now favors the dog over the human. The social contract that we have right now puts humans at a lower level than dogs.
When Albert Camus is recapping some of this history in The Rebel, he points out this is a real change in where moral authority is seen to originate from. God has been usurped, and he has been replaced by a general idea of what the people want.
Yeah, what do the people want? So many people sit back and say dogs are better, humans suck, I'm going to get a dog, not a kid. So all of the stuff that supposedly the people want, what is the result of this?
For Camus, this naturally followed from the challenge to God as the author of moral values. We have to replace him with some sort of judge, and if we're going to also replace monarchies and aristocracies with democracies and republics, then the people are a pretty natural follow through. But Camus also of this idea. If we make the people the ultimate arbiter of what is right, then we somewhat lose the ability to condemn what democracies or republics may do to their own people. In other words, under this framework, if almost everyone agrees to something, then it becomes a legitimate exercise of power.
Yes, if everyone believes that dogs are better and the owner is the problem, the child must have triggered the pit bull that ripped the neck out of a child. Well, the child must have triggered it. If a large portion of society is tricked into believing that, well, it's like he mentions, it ends up becoming a legitimate exercise of power.
Personally, I think Rousseau could probably get around this, but Camus points out that this philosophy is ripe for abuse. He paints this as partly behind the excesses of Robespierre's reign of terror. Since he was wielding the will of the people, it just could not be in question whether executing so many people was doing the right thing.
Yes, just like dog culture. It's the will of the people. They want to own dogs. They fall for this bullshit propaganda that dogs are the ultimate thing that you need for a family, a four-legged friend. When people are killed by dogs, dogs are basically executing the will of people. People that hate themselves, people that hate each other, and people that put dogs up on high.
It was the post revolutionary version of having been sent on a holy crusade by God. And so, temporarily, it placed the Committee for Public Safety as beyond reproach. Right, a fun, if simplified, history lesson. But this philosophy adds another layer of complexity to the conundrum of the people of Omelas. Because it is not just that the child is suffering for the benefit of all others, but with the explicit consent and approval of the rest of the city. But
Yes, children that die, children that give up their resources for dog ownership, that is like the explicit way that society thinks it's okay. Watch this whole video about Omelas. It's very, very interesting and it totally relates to dog culture.
by the logic of this post Enlightenment view, this is a perfectly legitimate exercise of power. It is the people acting in their own best interests and using their sovereignty to enact a choice.
Yeah, every time something bad happens to a child, every time something bad happens to a young lady delivering groceries to a house and a German Shepherd bites her in the frickin' neck, people just turn the other way and act like it's not a big deal. They act like, oh, the dog must have been abused. Oh, the owner didn't give the dog the right frickin' treats. So they are enacting a choice, a dog loving, dog worshiping, self hating, human hating choice every time dogs do something bad to us.
The extra tension then comes from the additional connotations of freeing the child. It is no longer just correcting a cruelty, it is also undermining the sovereign will of the people of a nation to govern their own citizens.
Yes, okay, correcting a cruelty. Dog culture critics, that's kind of what they're trying to do. But as a dog culture critic, if you talk about any type of dog attack, what happens to you? Everybody comes down on you, including the nation and the government.
It's not simply a trade off of interests, it raises the very question of whether there is a higher moral authority than a democratic populace. And if so, how is that established? Once again, we find this worry prefigured in Dostoevsky. His concern with humanism and materialism more generally was that.
Okay, let's leave it there. But have a look at this video with your fellow dog critiquing friends. This makes so much sense. The fact that we worship dogs, the fact that that makes us lean away from caring about ourselves, it makes us lean away from caring about our kids. This makes so much sense. And all of these philosophers and other people, they've already identified this problem, but we haven't really looked at it because it's like, oh, we don't want to talk about politics. Oh, we don't want to talk about that stuff. We just want to do another video about how dogs ruin Halloween, blah, blah, blah. But we really need to look deeper. If we actually want to help the future generation of children, and the story of the Omelas, it makes perfect sense. So hopefully you guys like my video, and I hope you find this channel Unsolicited Advice and have a look at this video. It really explains so much of the pathology of dog culture. See you guys later.